Hello everybody and welcome to another A+ 1102 course with some practice exam questions at the end, where I'm going to take you through this entire exam objective 1.10, identify common features and tools of the Mac OS/desktop OS. We're going to go through all these dot points, break it down by not only dot point but individual sub dot point within each dot point within this exam objective, and then I'll give you some practice questions at the end to see where you're at and if you're ready to take the real exam. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get straight into it. We're going to be starting off with installation and uninstallation of applications, looking at different file types. So we've got DMG, PKG, and APP. We're going to talk about the differences between those and when you might expect to use each of them. You may need to know this for your exam, or you'll definitely need to know, but at kind of a broad level, I guess. It's largely one slide's worth of information here. So look, you've got a bunch of different file types on Mac OS. You've got a DMG, or a disk image. This is often used for downloaded applications. A DMG file is a virtual disk image that needs to be mounted before accessing its contents. Once it is mounted, it appears as a virtual disk on your desktop. The application installer is usually located inside the mounted disk image. So if you're downloading an application, you're probably going to be downloading a DMG, or disk image, right? Moving on from that, we've got a package, or a PKG. This is another common installer format, typically used for system software updates or additional components for existing applications, right? So that's the key distinction. DMG, we're looking at downloading applications. Package, or PKG, we're looking at system software updates, update being the key word, or additional components for an application that already exists. So it's like an add-on, right? It's like hey, here's a package that's been delivered to your house. Your house is already built, but here's a package that's been delivered to the front door. Just that new little piece of furniture to give it a little bit more oomph, right? You've already got a house, but here's an extra package for you. You already have an application, but here's an extra package to update that, the feng shui or whatever it's called. And then we have an app, or an application. This is the actual application file that you do launch to use the software. The applications are typically stored in the applications folder. So you've got the download. If you're going to download an application, you'll download a DMG. But once that's kind of installed, you'll be opening the app. And then the package is the update kind of situation there, right? So understand the key difference between those three, and you'll be sweet. Now, installation methods. You can do it from the App Store, which is you'll be clicking on this little icon over here on your Mac. So the official App Store from Apple provides a selection of applications. It's trusted, of course. It's from the official App Store. You can download and install them directly through the App Store interface. Right, you get the idea. You go to the App Store, you download it from the official App Store. And then you've got manual installation. This is for applications downloaded from outside the App Store. Maybe they're not on the App Store. Maybe you just hate the idea of first world capitalism and you don't want to support the App Store. I don't know, man. Whatever your issue is, maybe you don't want to use it. In this case, you would be double clicking on a file that you have downloaded. So maybe you downloaded a DMG file from an outside source somewhere from the internet. You would then follow the on-screen instructions provided by the installer, which would usually involve dragging the application icon across to the applications folder. So you'll have a little box pop up and it'll say, hey, here's the application, and then there's an arrow telling you to drag it into the applications folder, and then that'll pretty much be it. So just understand, you can get it from the App Store, or you can do it manually. If you do it manually, this is roughly the process that you'd expect to follow. We then have the uninstallation process. There's a different bunch of options here that you can do, and which one you'd want to choose would depend on what your kind of situation is, what you're going for. So Mac OS doesn't have a central uninstaller utility, but there are a bunch of common methods to be able to uninstall things, and some of them do a better job than others. So dragging to the trash, you just drag it to the trash over here, right? I have this file, I would just drag it to the trash. This is the simplest method, and it removes the application itself, but it might leave behind those kind of extra files or user data. It's not necessarily going to scan your system and get everything. If you use an uninstaller application, the applications often do come with their own uninstaller tool. You would be able to find that within the applications folder. In that case, that's pretty much gonna be getting rid of everything. It's gonna be completely uninstalling it. Manual removal. If you want to be completely 100% thorough, you can identify and delete leftover application files and folders, which would be you actually manually searching through and doing it yourself. This usually involves navigating through the library, which is hidden by default, so you'll need to know how to view those hidden files, and finding files associated with that application. Caution is advised because you might accidentally delete something you don't want to delete, so make sure you know what you're doing. And then Apple ID and corporate restrictions. So first of all, what is your Apple ID? Apple ID is a central account used for various Apple services, such as downloading applications from the App Store, using iCloud for data storage and syncing, accessing Apple Music, Apple TV, and other Apple services, making purchases on the Apple Online Store. On macOS, your Apple ID is integrated with the system itself. You can sign in with your Apple ID during the initial setup or later through system preferences. So, it allows you to do a bunch of different stuff relating to Apple products and services, right? And you can synchronize between those services, generally speaking. Corporate restrictions. In a corporate environment, organizations might use mobile device management, or MDM, in order to manage and secure employee devices, including Macs. So we covered MDM in 1101, right? So we should be kind of familiar with that if we've already done the 1101 course. That being said, MDM can apply restrictions to Apple IDs and functionalities on Mac OS devices. Some common restrictions are App Store access. You might restrict access to the App Store or limit the installations to pre-approved apps, otherwise known as whitelisting. You're saying you can only have these apps. iCloud services, maybe your iCloud services such as iCloud Drive or iCloud Keychain might be disabled. Also, system preferences, you might not have access to some settings and other security features, right? So just be aware, MDM can basically apply to Mac in these ways. So hopefully that made sense to you. The impact of corporate restrictions. These can impact how you use your Mac at work. Of course, you might not be able to install personal applications. Maybe you can't go on Facebook at work, man. I'm sorry. You can't download the Facebook Messenger app because your boss wants you to actually be doing work. Gosh darn it. So just be aware of that. And then finding out about your corporate restrictions, you'll just need to have a look at your organization's policies in order to know what's going on. Now, the best practices here, relating to backups. You want to make sure that you're regularly backing up your data. It's the single most important practice that you want to be doing to avoid losing your data. Make sure you have a backup somewhere. Backup methods. There's a couple of different ones with Mac. You can do Time Machine, which is Apple's built-in backup tool, which automatically creates incremental backups to an external storage drive. Remember in 1101 we talked about the difference between incremental and full backups and synthetic backups. So that should ring a bell. You don't need to know about those for this exam though. But just, or do you? I can't remember. I have to have another look at the exam objectives. I forget. But that was 1101, I'm pretty sure. So you don't know. No, it was 1101. You don't need to worry about it for this one. And then you also have cloud storage services. So services like iCloud or Dropbox offer cloud-based backup solutions, so you can back up using the cloud if you've got smaller data sets. And then backup frequency. The ideal backup frequency does depend on how often your data changes. So if it's changing a lot, you'll probably need to back up more often. Now, antivirus. So the threat landscape. What are we talking about in terms of threats? Macs are generally considered less susceptible to viruses compared to Windows, but security threats like malware do still exist for Macs. You're not completely out of the weeds. You're still in danger, absolutely. Antivirus software, you definitely need to be using reputable antivirus software. So make sure you do have trusted antivirus software on your Mac, because you do need it. You do need to choose amongst a wide variety, but generally just you want to be making sure it's well regarded, it has good reviews, it's well known, and take system resource usage into account. You don't want to be using all of your CPU, because then you can't do any of your work, right? So those are the kind of things you need to consider. Updates and patches. The importance of updates. If you keep your software up to date, you will make sure you are maintaining high levels of security, performance, and compatibility. Make sure you update it, right? That's pretty simple to get your head around. Update types. You can do a security update, which is an update that addresses security vulnerabilities in the operating system. And then there's feature updates, which give you updates for features and improvements to existing functionalities that aren't related to security, right? So just understand the different kinds of updates that there are. Should be pretty okay with that by now, I'd hope. Automatic updates. So you can enable automatic updates in system preferences to ensure you receive and install updates promptly, so you don't have to manually do it yourself. That's definitely a good idea. Now, time for some questions. Let's get straight to it. Your first question reads, You downloaded a new video editing software for your Mac. The downloaded file is a DMG. How would you install this software on your Mac OS system? A. Copy the DMG file directly into the applications folder. B. Double-click the DMG file to mount it and then drag the application icon from the mounted disk image to the applications folder. C. Open the App Store and search for the video editing software you downloaded. Or D. Run the DMG file like an executable program to launch the installation process. Pause the video if you need more time. Your answer coming in 3, 2, 1. Now, that answer is B. So you'll be double-clicking that DMG file to mount it. Remember, they generally need to be mounted. It's a disk image file, and then you'll be dragging the application into the actual applications folder. So it's important you understand the difference between those file types so that you know what to expect and how you'd be using each. Next question reads, your Mac downloaded an update for a graphics editing system. Which file type would likely contain the update installer? It's an update. A PKG file. B, a DMG file. C, an APP file. Or D, all of the above could be suitable. Pause the video if you need more time. Your answer coming at 3, 2, 1. Now, it is a PKG. Remember, those are the update packages. You have your fully formed application, you have your fully formed house, and you just have a package coming to your door. You want a PKG file for that one. Again, you just need to know the difference between the file types. You'll be sweet. Make sure you get your head around that. Absolutely. Now, the next question reads, your friend is having trouble signing into their iPhone and asks for your help. They mentioned forgetting their Apple ID. What does an Apple ID likely refer to in this context? A unique identifier assigned to their iPhone by the manufacturer. B, a user account that provides access to various Apple services and features. C, a specific App Store account used for downloading paid applications. D, a security code used to unlock their iPhone screen. Your answer coming at 3, 2, 1. Now, it is B. It is an Apple account that provides access to various Apple services and features. Now, look, I'm running out of battery here. So, how much battery do I have? Oh, man. 20%. Oh, I should be okay for maybe a couple more seconds. Let's do one more question quickly. You're concerned about protecting your Mac from online threats. Which of the following statements is most accurate regarding antivirus software for Mac OS? A, Macs are immune to viruses and don't require antivirus protection. B, any antivirus software will work effectively on Mac OS regardless of its origin. C, you should install a reputable antivirus program specifically designed for Mac OS to add an extra layer of protection. Or D, the built-in Mac OS firewall is sufficient security protection against all online threats. Your answer coming in 3, 2, 1. Please pause the video if you need more time. I'm trying to make sure my battery doesn't run out on me. Your answer is C. You should install a reputable antivirus program specifically designed for Mac OS, right? Definitely want to make sure you're doing that. Now, with that being said, if you enjoyed this video, head over to journeytocyber.com. I do have my A+ 1102 learning guide and performance-based questions over there where I've got active recall questions, practice exam questions, and comprehensive notes telling you everything you need to know, broken down by not only exam objective, but also by each dot point within each exam objective. So people are saying your learning guide is goated. Your notes help me pass my test today. I absorb information much better than with other popular resources. So if you want to get your hands on that, head over to journeytocyber.com. You'll be as happy as that guy. Journeytocyber.com. If you don't want that, I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys. All right, we'll move on to the next part of this exam objective. We're going to have a look at system preferences, features, disk utility, file vault, terminal, and force quit, and what you need to know about these for your exam. Let's get straight into it with system preferences. So system preferences, we can see a little snapshot of it, what it looks like over here to the right. You've got a wide variety of options you can choose from, and essentially it is the central hub for configuring various settings and functionalities on your Mac device. You have display, which allows you to adjust your display settings. That includes your screen brightness, resolution, color calibration, and you can configure multiple monitor setups if that is something that you want to do and is applicable to you. In the network section, you can manage your network connections, such as your Wi-Fi and Ethernet. You can also view the available networks, configure network settings, and troubleshoot connectivity issues. In printers and scanners, you can probably guess what that's about, right? You can add, manage, and configure your printers and scanners connected to your Mac. This section allows you to set the default printing options and test scanner functionality as well. And in privacy, you can control how apps access your data, such as your location, your camera, your microphone, and system permissions. So basically, guys, I recommend just heading in there and having a look at, just have a fiddle around and just briefly, roughly understand the kind of things you can change within system preferences there. In terms of accessibility, you have a section that offers a variety of features that assist users with disabilities. You can enable features like the voiceover, which reads things from the screen, zoom functionality, or customize your keyboard shortcuts for easier navigation. You also have Time Machine, which is Apple's built-in backup tool. We talked about it a little bit already, but we'll talk about it a bit more. You can configure automatic backups to an external storage device, and Time Machine creates incremental backups, allowing you to restore your system or retrieve previous versions of files. Alrighty, so in relation to features, now got to know about the features as well. You got multiple desktops, so you can create and switch between virtual desktops, each of which represents a dedicated workspace. So you could have desktop 1, desktop 2, desktop 3, right? And you could easily switch between those desktops within that one Mac device. Mission Control provides a visual overview of all open windows. So you can see a screenshot of that down here. You can see everything you have open through Mission Control, which will let you know everything that is going on, and is an easy way to quickly flick between different things that you have open. So you can go over here, flick it open, and then quickly click on this, and this will open up, and then go into Mission Control, quickly click on this. It's a nice, easy way to see what's going on in your system, what do you have open, and just quickly flick between all of them. You have Keychain, which securely stores passwords, login credentials, and encryption keys for various applications and websites, and it eliminates the need to remember numerous passwords, which is always good. You also have Spotlight, which is a powerful search tool that helps you locate files, applications, contacts, emails, and even web content instantly. It's basically a way of just searching both your device/system and the internet to find what you have to find. Spotlight is super powerful. You can search your device and you can search the internet too. It'll give you a wide variety of results there. And then iCloud is Apple's cloud storage service, which allows you to store files, photos, contacts, and other data online. You can access this data from any Apple device or web browser with your Apple ID. So, some more things that we need to know. Gestures. We should be already familiar with this. We talked about it a little bit in 11.01. Was something you needed to know, but we'll go through it again because it's on this exam too. Gestures utilize multi-touch trackpad gestures, so depending on how you move your hand, you can do different things with the trackpad on Mac for intuitive navigation and interaction. Common gestures include swiping between desktops, pinching to zoom, or tapping with 3 fingers for mission control. So you can see an example over here, right? Pressing with 2 fingers will do something different when compared to swiping with 3 fingers, for example. So depending on what movement or motion you do, it will do a different thing. Finder is a built-in file manager application for Macs. You can use Finder to browse folders, locate files, organize your documents, and access external storage devices. Remote Disk is a feature that allows you to connect to and access files on another computer on your network. This can be helpful for transferring files or working with shared resources. And the Dock is a customizable on-screen bar that provides quick access to frequently used applications, documents, and folders. So essentially it is, you can kind of see here, that dock down the bottom on the last slide. That's all that's talking about, that dock that has everything open, so you can quickly click on it to open something that you use frequently or that you've set to be in that dock. Now, Disk Utility is a built-in application in Mac that acts as your one-stop shop for managing storage devices and disk health. What is it? What does it do? You can view all connected storage devices, including internal hard drives, external drives, and SSDs. Gives you information on your disk. You can see partitioning information, formatting information. You can actually do formatting there. You can perform first aid on your disk, create a disk image, and you can restore a disk from a previously created disk image as well, right? So you can have a look there. Don't use that loosely. Make sure you know what you're doing before you do it, right? Really important to make sure you know what's going on before you start pressing buttons in there. And then accessing Disk Utility, you can do it in 2 ways. You can do it through Spotlight, which is that powerful search tool we were talking about before, and simply type in Disk Utility, or you can open up your Finder, navigate to applications, and locate Disk Utility that way. When should you use it? When you are preparing a new hard drive for use by formatting it, when you are partitioning a large disk into separate volumes, when you are trying to troubleshoot, you can run first aid to diagnose and repair errors, and when you are creating a backup image of a disk. These are all good reasons to use Disk Utility. And then we've got File Vault as well. It's basically a built-in disk encryption feature for Mac OS. So you just need to know that File Vault is a built-in feature on Mac which encrypts the entire contents of your startup disk, rendering your data inaccessible without the decryption key. You've got 2 options, File Vault 2, which is full disk encryption, or Legacy File Vault, which is user folder encryption. So either full disk or folder. That's roughly what you're going to need to know. You can enable or disable it. So you can do it through the system preferences by going in there, clicking on security and privacy, select the FireVault tab, click on the lock icon, and then click on turn on FireVault. Now terminal. Terminal is essentially the terminal box, right, that you can pull up and you actually type in the commands. It's basically just like the command prompt in Windows, the exact same thing. You're typing in the demands, gaining direct access to the system, and you can do more specific things. And generally, you know, if you have something you really specifically want to do and you want direct system access, you want to utilize scripting, or you want to customize, sorry, you wouldn't use the terminal to customize, but you can customize the terminal appearance. I made mine green, like the Matrix, and like I felt like a little hacker, right? But if you want to have direct system access and engage in scripting, you may want to use a terminal. But of course, it's a big learning curve as outlined here, because you've got to learn all the commands and stuff that are actually largely outlined within this exam, this 1102 exam. You would use it for file management, information gathering, and troubleshooting. Also, advanced task. If you're an advanced user, you can leverage the terminal for tasks like installing software, managing user accounts, and configuring system settings with more granular control, right? So it's good if you want to do anything that you can't do or easily do with the usual setup, GUI, graphical user interface. And then force quit. Basically, you can use the force quit functionality in Mac to shut down a application if they freeze, crash, or become unresponsive. That is something that is good if nothing else is working, but you're likely to use data if you do that. So, but just be very careful with that. If you want to do it, you can have a read of how to access it here. But the main thing is you can use force quit to close an application once it freezes, but be careful because you will lose data. So try every other possible method first. Question time. Let's do some questions. The first question is, you find the text on your Mac screen a little difficult to read. Which system preferences section would you access to adjust the text size or screen brightness? A, networks. B, printers and scanners. C, display. Or D, privacy. Your answer in 3, 2, 1. Pause the video if you need more time. It is C, display. Display section within system preferences controls the various visual aspects of your Mac screen. All right, so it's important you know what those different sections do. The next one is you're working on a research paper for school and have several web browser windows open, along with a word processing document and a PDF reference file. Which macOS feature would be the most helpful to organize these open windows and avoid clutter on your screen while allowing you to quickly switch between programs with a single swipe? A, multiple desktops. B, mission control. C, keychain. Or D, spotlight. Your answer coming in 3, 2, 1. Pause the video if you need more time. It is A, multiple desktop. All right, so think about this. You're working on a research paper. You've got several web browser windows open, along with a word processing document and a PDF reference file. So you have a lot of different things open. Which feature would be the most helpful to organize these open windows and avoid clutter? So you could use multiple desktops to simply, with a swipe of your finger, quickly switch between desktops and organize them accordingly with the work that you are doing. So you can reduce your clutter and switch quickly between them. Mission control is kind of along the same lines, right? It offers an overview, but it can overwhelm the screen, right? It shows all these windows at once instead of just quickly swiping between them. So with multiple desktops, you can organize them by theme as well. Like one could be for PDF documents, one could be for this theme of work that you're doing. It's just better for that kind of organizational work. Hopefully that makes sense. We'll do a couple more questions. I'm running late for work. I'm about to have to go back, so I'll have to rush through this last bit. You're concerned about protecting the sensitive data on your work laptop. You've heard a colleague mention FileVault as an option. What is the primary function of FileVault on a macOS system? A, organize and manage files and folders more efficiently. B, encrypt the entire startup disk. C, free up storage space by identifying and deleting unused files. Or D, back up your important files to a cloud storage device. Your answer coming in 3, 2, 1. Now, your answer is B, disk utility. So disk utility is the built-in macOS application designed for managing storage devices connected to your Mac. It offers functionalities such as storage overview, unused file management, and erasing external drives. Hopefully we got that one, guys. We'll do another question here, and then we'll call it, I think. While macOS offers a user-friendly graphical interface, there exists a powerful tool for more technical users. What is the name of the application on macOS that provides a command line interface for interacting with the operating system? A, Spotlight. B, Activity Monitor. C, Terminal. Or D, System Preferences. Your answer coming in 3, 2, 1. Pause the video if you need more time. It is C, terminal. Terminal is that built-in functionality that allows you to use command line interface to access your system. So look, guys, hopefully we did all right. I know there's a lot of questions I didn't do. I'm just really running late for work. So if you want to get full access for this content, head over to journeytocyber.com. This is all excerpts from my 1102 learning guide, which has comprehensive notes, practice exam questions, and active recall questions. This is what people said about my last learning guide for the 1101, and the 1102 is so much better. They said, your learning guide is goated. I don't comment a lot, but it helps with organized information and helps me piece things together more easily. Your notes definitely helped me pass my test today. Thanks. I tried other popular resources, but struggled absorbing that material. This is going to help me immensely with studying. Will you have one for the 1102? Your lucky day. That's what I'm doing right now. Head over to journeytocyber.com to get your hands on yours today. So if you want to grab that, you'll be as happy as Larry, as happy as this guy, getting ready with confidence for that A+ 1102 exam. If you just want to wait for the next video to come out, no worries, guys. But like I said, I skipped a few questions in this one just because I'm running a bit late for work. I do apologize, but I got to get in and I got to get this video out today. So that's just how the cookie crumbles. Plenty of extra questions in my learning guide. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video, guys. Bye.